The Neoplatonians had what the Christians had also, namely the Bible. They had not finished, but found a collection called the Chaldean Oracles, and used the Chaldean Oracles as sacred scriptures. And it's a religion. It's a religion which leaves much room to magic. If one opens such a serious philosopher as Iamblichus tells also about how to animate statues, turning a statue of clay into a living man or woman. When one reads Porphyry, Times editor, one cannot but mistake mystical overtones are perpetual. And to add, it may be that Plotinus, the first Neoplatonician, it may be that Plotinus had been influenced by Indian mysticism. One say that perhaps young Plotinus joined a military expedition to India, and there, instead of being a good soldier, spoke with the local sages. But beware, Neoplatonism is a religion, all right, but it's a totally demythologized religion. Superficially, it claims to be faithful to pagan religions. Superficially. One knows the case of the first visit of Proclus, young Proclus, 5th century, paid a visit to Athens. Claims to be a pagan, visits the Acropolis, Parthenon and all that, and performs rigorously all rites associated with every temple, every altar, and so on. And there are a few old gentlemen, pagans, but in the period where Christianity is the state religion, who, looking at this young man, praying devotedly Zeus and Athena, believe that a pagan renewal is possible. A revival is at hand. That about totally mistaken. Well, these Proclus was not the man of revival. He was more or less an ancestor of Buddhism. And what he was doing with paganism in his elements of theology, in his Platonician theology, was to rewrite, demythologize, and give a totally allegorical right reading of all that. The problem of allegorical interpretation in Neoplatonism is that it is a very useful tool for one who wants to hide the supremacy of the metaphorical texts. On the other hand, Christianity at the same period is not demythologized. It's not, it doesn't. It practices allegory or rites, not in all places, but anyway, a strong school of allegorical interpretation of the Christian scriptures was to be seen everywhere. But one also found people, I think of the school of Antioch, and very later on, Martin Luther, who said that, the Christian scriptures had no need of an allegorical interpretation, and that the literal sense was perfectly enough. That what could build the theology in our sense, just starting from the literal meaning of Scripture. Hiding the literal sense, so Protestants, using it shamefully That's what happens in Christianity. And there comes the hero. Surprisingly, the hero is no professional philosopher. He's no philosopher in the sense of origin, a philosopher who's doing theology. No. The hero is in fact the monk. And monasticism is something that began in the 4th century. So many things had happened before the 4th century, and many theology had been written. We know somehow very little on the people who had written what we call theology before the 4th century. We have texts, we have not lives. We do very little of the lives. And after all, we don't need. When we have the corpus of Athanasius of Alexandria, who wrote the biography of the founder of the Desert Fathers, when we have the Athanasian corpus, we don't need the biography of a man who, after all, was slightly disreputable. Now the case with the monks are different. The monk is normally an almost illiterate Egyptian peasant. There are exceptions. There were a few scholars in the But the monk is also someone who very early in the history of monasticism became associated with philosophical life. Theos Philosophicals. That's also the label used for the monastic experience. Philosophia Christiana was earlier, and it was scholarly. The monk's experience is probably not scholarly, but it claims, or his friends claim that, it is a philosophical experience. That is, the monk lives life itself. And after all, living life itself is precisely what Aristotle wanted to do. If we have a non-romantic view of monasticism, it's wiser to have a non-romantic view of it. That is, if we look at it following its symbolic way, rather than a reality we don't very well, we may notice that an achievement in monasticism, first the Egyptian desert, then Palestine, the certain achievement of the Greek project, the Greek philosophical project. Three words are, and Greek words, by the way, are of paramount importance. One is Theoria, the second is Sophia, and the third is Polis. Theoria, because monastic life claims to be contemplative. In fact, what the monks says he is doing is perpetual contemplation, if possible. Sophia, wisdom, because after all, the monastic community is meant to be run wisely. It's meant to be leaded wisely. And if you read, for instance, the later rule of Saint Benedict, you will find in it a nice, short constitution, which is not a bad constitution. As a matter of fact, it's the constitution Austin McIntyre refers at the end of After Virtue. He said that what we are needing now, 30 years ago more or less, is a new, certainly very different, but anyway, new St. Benedict.